There are 1009 games in the Steam Next Festival, so there's plenty to try, where I've already given you 30 and here are the rest for the weekend, beginning with Astria 6-Sided Oracles, a roguelite dice builder game with a fantastic art style, where I'm beginning to see a lot more of these as compared to the deck builder variant, which is a nice change of pace. The super weird comedy RPG Athenian Rhapsody sure looks to be inspired by Undertale, where there's just a variety in characters with awesome designs, a weird, wacky world, and atypical gameplay systems that play with the idea of an RPG, making this one to watch. This video is brought to you by Blade Prince Academy, a fantastic looking tactical RPG with real-time combat, being self-described as Hades meets Baldur's Gate, and is certainly a title to watch.
Welcome to the treacherous city of Abjectalia, where the most gifted orphans are sent to the academy, where they are trained in the deadly arts of combat, magic, and espionage. All to serve the designs of the powerful black mages who control the city.
You're put in charge of a group of Blade Princes, magical assassins in training, who still have to spend time at the academy, which acts as a central hub area where your task is to protect the city from all sorts of threats. There are unique characters to get to know and build relationships with, where each character will have their own narrative arc, adding layers upon the main narrative. The real-time with pause combat looks strategic and tactical, where you can use the environment to your advantage where positioning matters. As part of the Steam Next Festival, there is a demo available, so get it via the link below and be sure to wishlist the game for support. It is also on Kickstarter and is almost funded with less than a week to go, so hop on over to check out the campaign, where there are backer tiers which gets you the game at a discount, as well as exclusive beta access, link also in the description, where this looks excellent and I cannot wait to play the full version. I've had my eye on Broken Roads for quite a long time since they showed off a very interesting moral compass system that is unlike your typical binary Paragon Renegade system seen in games like Mass Effect, where this is about as classic as you can get with regards to the dialogue system, skill checks and choices to make, where the setting in post-apocalyptic Australia is interesting as well. I cannot remember if I've covered Death Must Die before, where this is another Vampire Survivors-like title, but has some gorgeous pixel art and even an inventory system that reminds me of Diablo, so as a fan of both of those things, this of course has my attention. Dice Folk was only recently revealed and seems to already be in quite a late stage of development, with this monster taming RPG with turn-based combat and randomness of dice and the rotation of creatures in combat sure looks interesting, with a great art style as well. Dot H also seems to be moving along nicely in development, where this pixel art roguelite city building strategy game has evolved quite a bit in terms of visuals, where it reminds me quite a bit of titles like Populous and the city building parts of ActRaiser and is worth a play. I just covered developer Strange Scaffold a couple of videos ago, where they make very weird and interesting games, with their next title being El Paso Elsewhere, a Max Payne-like third-person shooter with throwback visuals, filling up a gap in the market which I think people will appreciate. I'm always on the lookout for Metroidvanias, so of course, the pixel art entry Geno Panic is of interest, a sci-fi entry where you're exploring a research complex, having a little bit of a Metroid feel, and more accurately, reminds me of Environmental Station Alpha and Zeo Drifter due to the character design. I've been intrigued by God ever since it was announced, where it was difficult to tell what kind of game this was initially, but then it revealed itself to be a base builder colony sim in a dark fantasy world where you need to defend your village and tribe, even sending out expeditions into the darkness to fend off monsters, and looks good. In Stars and Time is a time loop turn-based RPG that uses a monochrome color scheme that is difficult to pull off, but where the narrative and turn-based combat looks to be the main draw, so get a feel for that with the demo. I have a bunch of Diablo-like titles in this video, including Into the Necrovale, a top-down pixel art title that could be neat, where this is good old hacking and slashing fun. I think that some people may get mixed up between Athenian Rhapsody covered earlier and Knuckle Sandwich, since both are Earthbound or Undertale adjacent RPG titles, but this also goes for the comedic vibes and has a lot of variety in gameplay. City builder fans do not miss out on Leysara Summit Kingdom, one where you're building settlements at a high altitude, where the verticality and challenges of building on a steep molten face are its main differentiating points. We also saw the revival of Lords of Exile, a pixel art action platformer that is more akin to the classic Castlevania games, where they have signed with a publisher and are showing signs of life. Mind Over Magic is a base builder title where you're constructing, expanding, and managing your own magical school, looking pretty awesome and even has turn-based combat, where I do wonder what the larger goal of the game is. Myth Force got the attention of many when it was first reviewed, and then went quiet for a little while, but this is a first-person co-op-focused roguelite title that is going for the Saturday morning cartoon vibe and should be out relatively soon as well. Nihilbilk's Dungeon Master is a spin-off of the Dungeon of Nihilbilk, the Amulet of
Chaos
CRPG game, this time being a dungeon keeper-like tycoon game and looks fun. Norland is a colony sim set in medieval times, where think of this as RimWorld but in a different setting and you get the idea, where the emergent stories based on the personalities of your people will be the main draw. I'm excited for this next title since Retopia is the next game from the developers of Retropolis, a side-scrolling deck builder base building defense game where this is now an Oxygen not included like side-scrolling survival and base building game and looks excellent. The long-anticipated Reverse Collapse, codenamed Bakery, is also showing signs of life, being a tactics title that I've had my eye on for quite a while, but this is very anime and seems to have an intriguing central mystery. Salt Sea Chronicles is the next title from the developers of Mutazione, being another narrative-focused adventure game set in the post-flood world known as Salt Sea, which is an intriguing setting where you play as a captain and their crew attempting to get back their impounded ship. Spirit Swap has the subtitle Lo-Fi Beats to match 3-2, and it is as advertised, so go relax with this game. Synth Beasts is an action-adventure monster taming game, think Zelda crossed with Pokemon, where you get to directly control these creatures and seems fun. There are quite a number of upcoming Chinese action RPGs as well, such as Tales of Spark, one that is set in a Chinese wuxia world where pugilists can train and master various martial arts, manifesting in incredible powers, where it is combined with Diablo-style action and looks awesome. The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood is a narrative adventure game where you play as a witch exiled on an asteroid floating in space, and has quite the developer pedigree where you have to use your tarot deck to influence events such that you can regain your freedom, changing the fate of Cosmic Witch Society. The second Chinese action RPG title is Three Kingdoms Zhao Yun, one where you play as the titular character who was one of the 5 tiger generals under Liu Bei, stylized of course in this game, which is a Diablo-style title. It looks much smoother as compared to Tales of Spark mentioned earlier, but it's interesting to see more Chinese titles on Steam. I covered Urbano Legends debut in my YouTube Shorts series, where this is a visual novel rhythm game where you're chilling in the day and hunting urban legends at night, with a sleek art style that reminds me of greats in the genre like Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Wonderful is a cozy exploration and building title where you're wandering this charming world, uncovering it bit by bit and having some strategy elements, looking absolutely wonderful and relaxing. A humorous in-development title is World's Worst Handyman, where you play as this character, attempting to do his best to fix household problems and trying not to mess it up, having to run away from angry customers if you do piss them off and looks wacky. The top 10 begins with Punch Club 2 Fast Forward, the sequel to a fan-favourite idol management title, having a nonsensical story as you have to train to be the best on a quest for revenge, where this looks fairly similar to the first entry but should be expanded and improved upon in significant ways. One of the indie fighting games with the most amount of potential is Pocket Bravery, a long-in-development title which did sign with a publisher, and their presence in this Steam Next Festival is a good sign that they should be close to done. This is a classic 2D fighting game with all the expected features like rollback, netcode, training modes, story campaign, arcade mode and more, where it has a good sized roster, especially for an indie game, and by all accounts should be a good game. I was so excited when I got to know of Defender's Quest 2 Mists of Ruin, the sequel to one of my favourite tower defense titles that goes back to the Flash game era, where you're placing specific heroes instead of towers on the map to deal with enemies. The RPG elements and skills of the heroes will form the main progression, but I still recommend the original even in 2023. I really enjoyed an early demo of SteamWorld Build, a city building title set in the SteamWorld universe that has mechanics similar to the old Sierra city builders like Pharaoh, but with the Steam bots that you have come to know and love. It is an interesting 2-layered world, both above and below ground, so hopefully this releases soon as well.
In the lost Caribbean Sea was a captain mighty. Mordecai was his name, he succumbed to the white flame. His treasure was lost and his crew was tossed. Now is the day cursed pirates have their way.
A not-so-indie title that I have to cover is Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew, coming to us from the developer of Shadow Tactics and Desperados 3, where Mimimi Games are the masters of the real-time tactics title, making this ghost pirate themed entry of interest. I'm so happy to share that we finally have a demo for Alien Hominid Invasion, a co-op focused run-and-gun platformer from the behemoth, Flash game legends in their own right, that are best known for Castle Crashers, where Battle Block Theatre and Pit People are great games as well, where we are revisiting one of their earliest creations, but souped up for a modern audience and looks like absolute
Chaos!
There's also news with regards to Hammerwatch 2, an open-world hack-and-slash RPG that is the sequel to a beloved game, where this got a release date in August, so we will get to play soon, so if you're interested, certainly give the demo a go. Another sequel of interest is Wargroove 2, the sequel to an Advanced Wars-like tactical title that features returning characters and units, but also adding new ones as a sequel should do, where the original is excellent and comes highly recommended. From the general reception that this game has had, Laika, Aged Through Blood could be turning out to be something very special indeed, a self-styled Motovania, essentially being a Metroidvania where you're traversing the post-apocalyptic world on your bike, oozing style as well as being unique, which are factors of success. This Chrono Trigger-like turn-based RPG is one of the most hyped games of the year for good reason, not least because of its pedigree, coming to us from the developer of The Messenger, but also the pixel art and what looks like fun, classic throwback JRPG style combat that pushes those nostalgia buttons, making Sea of Stars the top pick. And with a release in August, this demo should be a close representative, and you can find more pixel art titles here.